Shira. The Gemara tells us Cheskiyahu would have been Mashiach, but the Yidden didn't sing Shira, and therefore they were not worthy for Cheskiyahu to be Mashiach. And for years the question begged, why didn't the Yidden sing Shira? Why was there no song on the day Sancherev was destroyed? Why was there no song that Yerushalayim was redeemed? Where was the song? Where was the music? And then I heard a tremendous thought. There are two ways in which we can teach our children to learn. There are two ways in which we can teach our children to appreciate mitzvahs. You can come from a position of power, and you can come from a position of influence. How did Cheskiyahu teach the Yidden learning? So the Gemara tells us a phenomenal thing. In the days of Cheskiyahu HaMelech, all Jewish children know how to learn. All Jews kept Torah and mitzvahs, but how did he do it? How did he achieve it? And the Gemara tells us, Noatz Cherev. He hung up a sword, and he said, either you learn and you keep the mitzvahs, if not, I kill you. That is called teaching from a position of power. You can teach children from a position of power as long as you have the power. You can teach children from a position of power and they will listen to you because they're afraid of the thoughts. They will listen to you because they're afraid of the sword. You can teach children from a position of power and they're afraid not to obey. But what happens is the child learns. What happens is the child learns, but he has no song in his voice. The child learns and he has no song in his heart. Because how can there be joy in the Torah that's forced upon him? How can there be joy in mitzvahs that's forced upon him? And that is what happened in the days of Cheskiyahu HaMelech. The people were learning, but they were in a dark world, in a tunnel. Because they were forced to learn. They were forced to keep the mitzvahs. In our small world that we live in, there's a community of children who some call After Derech, some call teens at risk. In reality, all it is children that refuse to bow to power. There's a struggle. You teach the child from a position of power. Many children are afraid and many children listen. Thankfully, most children don't rebel. However, there is a percent of children that will never ever become crushed through power. They're unafraid from their parents. They're unafraid from their teachers. They're unafraid from their Rabbi and their mashgichim. No amount of power will manage to control them, to teach them to learn Torah. No amount of power will force them to keep mitzvahs. And that breaks families. That hurts communities. When a parent and a child fall into that kind of conflict, the parent tries to force the child, and the child refuses to obey the parent. And God comes somewhere in between because the parent says, I'm forcing you because Hashem commands. And the child says, I don't care. And then the teacher starts screaming, and the mashgiach starts screaming. And the headache and the anguish is indescribable. Parents spend tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, trying to get the children back to the path that they want their children to be on. And yet the children are, in one word, totally fed up. Nothing in the world will take them on again. However, there's one thing that still works, and that is influence. You can teach the child to want to do what's right. You can no longer force him. He's past that stage. You can teach the child and make him want to do what's right. It is a very difficult thing to do. People think it's easy. I'm sure there are other speakers out there that always talk about influence as if everyone can do it. I wish it was that easy. However, I do know Bonaich, and I know Rabbi Osher Schapiro. I've known him because he was my Rabbi in Shea, and even then, he came from a position of influence. He was one of the pioneers of making us want to do what's right. He was one of the pioneers that made us appreciate doing what's right. And he continues to do it for the tens and hundreds of bochrim that need his voice. Where do parents turn to when their children have failed the point of power? Where do parents turn to when the position of power has created all that conflict and all that anguish? Where do Rabbanim turn to? Where should the community turn to? And for that we have to be so thankful for people like Rabbi Osher and Bonaich. I don't know if there's anything that we can do to support him that we shouldn't do. If there's anything we can do as the community to stand behind this powerful organization and this special Yid, this man who has done so much for our community and has asked nothing in return, if there's any small request he ever makes of us, dare we say no? Dare we not open our hearts and our pockets to be there? And as I love to say, don't just turn to him once you need him. Give him now and support him now so that Hashem shall help. You shouldn't fall into the situation of having a power struggle. That kind of situation that will keep you up at night. Chas v'sholem, it keeps our people at night. Worse than not having panosa. And not having panosa is terrible, but ask people who had a child off the derech and ask them. There is no pain in this world comparable to that child that has decided he no longer listens to power. And at that point everyone comes knocking and asking, please help. And the duty of us is to stand there for him before we need him. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu help, we shouldn't need him. And may HaKadosh Baruch Hu help, and let me just finish. I don't know if we need Rabbi Osher or we don't need him yet. He's there for us anyway. He's there for us all the time. He has been there for us when we learned of him. He has been there for us when we were in his class. He has been there for us throughout all the years. Always a kind word. Always a dvar chizik. And believe me, when we'll do for Kol Bonaich, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will do for us. Thank you.